Same face syndrome is a term often used when referring to an artist who struggles with or is unable to draw characters with visually distinct facial features. Face syndrome has a mostly negative connotation when it comes to the general art community, but it's an especially negative connotation in the realm of manga and anime. When listening to anime and manga discourse, same face syndrome is a common criticism of mangaka. Now, I'm here to tell you that while same face syndrome may be an issue that most artists, including mangaka, should try to avoid, I think for them it's mostly unavoidable, and we shouldn't be as hard on them as we are now. So in this video, I'm going through and analyzing two popular mangaka that deal with SFS differently, their circumstances, and deciding if the criticism is justified. And I will also go deeper into why I think same face syndrome happens in the first place. Okay, artist 1, Yusuke Murata, an incredibly skilled mangaka who I would rate a 3 out of 10 on the SFS scale, same face syndrome. He collaborated with the webtoon creator of One Punch Man to make the One Punch Man manga. The reason I put him at a 3 out of 10 on the SFS scale is because he actually does have a high variety of character designs, but there are a lot of characters with similar looking faces as well. Typically this happens when in the story they are meant to be seen as attractive, and they tend to have smaller eyes, less prominent noses, and all around sharper features. Now I would like to use Murata as an opportunity to talk about how the desire to make your characters look appealing leads to SFS. Now we know that everyone has their own standards and preferences when it comes to who they think looks appealing or attractive, but it's interesting to see how this translates to character design. Most people, whether they are aware of it or not, tend to conflate capability with attractiveness, and this can cause the main cast of an author's story to look similar, as oftentimes characters in a story are made to be likable and often have things they specialize in and are good at. To round this back to Murata, let's look at some examples where he illustrates SFS and also how he avoids it. I want to bring up two characters, Sweet Mask and Genos. Both characters are attractive, capable heroes. However, while looking similar, they are distinct. Sweet Mask has sleeker, gentle features, while Genos has more sharp angles as seen in the jawline and the eye shape, along with black eyes. They communicate appeal, but don't confuse readers and tell different stories. Sweet Mask being a hero and actor idol celebrity, and Genos being a straight to the point, no funny business hero. Murata does a good job keeping an iconic style and unique character designs. Someone who struggles more with SFS is Eiichiro Oda, the creator and artist for One Piece. I rate him a 7 out of 10 on the SFS scale. It's specifically bad with the women of One Piece, but it does happen with the men as well. Now I will say it is much worse with the anime adaptation than in the manga, but the problems persist regardless. Now Oda has gotten a lot of slack for his treatment of the female cast, being accused of misogynist views, but I won't be going into that today. I will be focusing more on the art itself. Oda particularly struggles with the mouth and face shapes like the jawline. Also eyes to an extent, obviously body type, but those aren't faces, so we'll exclude that. And for the most part, if it wasn't for hair and outfit differences, it would be hard to tell the girls apart if you aren't an avid reader. Most of this also applies to the central male cast, but he is less afraid to get really out there with their designs. I would like to add that the amount of detail in an art style can and does contribute a lot to SFS, because while Oda does struggle with this a lot, there are only so many variables you can change and have it still look like it was drawn by him. Murata's style has a lot more detail in the average panel, which gives him more wiggle room with this. But there are other manga with simple styles that avoid SFS. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to again talk about another reason SFS happens that is more related specifically to mangaka rather than general artist downfalls like with the last one I made. In my opinion, the biggest contributor to mangaka same face syndrome is manga release schedules and the workload that comes with that. Let me explain. Shonen Jump and other manga publishers typically go off a weekly chapter release schedule, although monthly has been becoming more popular. The broad expectation being that manga are able to produce a chapter's worth of artwork in a week. This requires an insane amount of efficiency or sacrificing sleep and free time in order to keep up. To maintain this efficiency, an artist has to find replicable workflow and designs. You'd be surprised at the iconic character choices that were made for efficiency. Popular examples are Naruto's original goggles and other headwear being replaced with the iconic headbands because the goggles took too long to draw, and Goku's Super Saiyan hair being blonde to avoid the time-consuming inking for his base form black hair. When drawing manga with recurring characters, you are literally drawing the same faces hundreds of times a month for years at a time. This literally causes muscle memory and habits around drawing faces that are made out of necessity. That is unavoidable, and sometimes you don't even realize it's happening. Now, if it gets to a certain extent, it is something you should try to work on. But I do think for mangaka, it is more excusable of a mistake than it is with the average artist. But there are many manga with this issue. To name a few, Fairy Tail, Bleach, Chainsaw Man, but it's never such an issue that it takes away from other important things like story, world building, or action. A very important difference between One Punch Man and One Piece is that One Piece has a strict chapter-a-week schedule with Oda rarely taking hiatus, and One Punch Man basically doesn't have one and tries to release once a month. This reflects in both the length of chapters and quality of chapters. But while One Punch Man has a reputation for its incredible art, One Piece is arguably the most popular manga of all time, so there are benefits for both approaches. Oda has been creating One Piece for longer than I've been alive, and his art style has changed, but other habits have only solidified. Same goes for the other previously stated artists. But before you hate on them, just take a second to keep in mind the points I made today. The amount of time it took to hone their craft, and the circumstances these artists are under. Thank you for watching, and have a good one. See ya.